Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are tonight's entertainment.
I think it picked up on my mic. Hey, everybody. It was louder than I think it needed to be. Ah. Anywho, that's probably where I positioned my mic since the last time I used it to record some auditions. But well, we met like the one of the immortals, so at this point we're trying to we're finally gonna be dealing with Silence pretty soon. Doggone shame, Varl, man. I can't believe Varl died. Oh my god. I've been avoiding spoilers to this game because I do not want to know, like, you know, any twists and turns. I want to make sure that I am fairly, you know, surprised about what's going on. Can't even buy that.
Next time, perhaps you could make.
What office does he have? This looks dope. But once again, do not have the components. I mean, this looks good, but it's just like the perks is like not where I want them to be. I mean, this looks dope too, but still don't have the tools that I need. Definitely would love that, but ah, dang it.
Purchase.
I wish you can do something to get like I mean, of course you can do something to try to get the components you need, but it's like you gotta really chase down a particular beast in order to do that. Or even when I find it, it's like you should be guaranteed, if you're taking out a particular beast, you should be guaranteed to get every component involved in it, especially like the a specific, you know, rare one. And it's like, you know, I don't have to hunt down at least 2 or 3 to eventually get one.
When you're wounded, you have to strike back. Draw blood.
Hey, can't I get 1 damn minute to mourn my friend?
Regalla is going to slaughter my tribe to overthrow Hikaru. The Zeniths have Beta and Gaia. We can't sit around wallowing in our losses.
Kotallo's right. We must fight.
Oh, all right, so what are we gonna do, huh? Take on all of Regalla's rebels?
Not to mention the Zeniths. What can we even do? Throw ourselves at their base?
Something like that. So...
After we lost contact with you, we regrouped and went to Gemini. What happened? The recording we found on Varl's focus cut off when that Zenith Eric...
The Zeniths were tracking Hephaestus. When Gaia trapped it in Gemini, they knew where we were. After Varl tried to stop them. They took Beta and Gaia. I only survived because one of the Zeniths turned against the others to save me.
One of them? Well, at least we didn't lose you too. So what do we do now?
We're going to defeat the Zeniths and get Beta and Gaia back. But first, we're going to stop Regalla.
How?
Back in Gemini, Beta gave me a gift. There's something I need to do first to make it work, but it could put an end to the bloodshed.
Word is, Regalla's readying her army for an all-out assault on the Grove. I need to be there.
I know. Go. Stand with Hekarro. And keep an eye on the sky.
Strike true as the 10.
The rest of you, whatever preparations you need to make, upgrades, resupplies, get on it. It won't be long before we take the fight to the Zeniths.
We'll be ready, Aloy. And when you're ready, meet me outside the east exit. I'd like to have a word in private.
Even when things are darkest, you're the flame that lights the way forward.
Just tell me one thing. Am I gonna get to smash up a bunch of Zenith bastards?
We all are.
Good.
Before I do anything else, I should check on Zoe. It sounded important.
I'm doing. Man, I can't believe Varl died. Man, that's so effed up. Just a formality.
Over here, Aloy.
You wanna pray?
We would come out here to tend to the garden. Sometimes I needed fresh air. Other times we would simply sit and watch the sunrise. So when we returned from Gemini, it seemed fitting that he be laid to rest here. Now he can always look out at Plainsong and further east to the Nora Sacred Lands.
He would have liked that.
He often spoke of his sister, Vala. He said she used to gather her favorite golden blooms and tie them to her spear. Their mother called it useless, but Vala was stubborn.
Yeah, she seemed like that.
It wasn't easy. But I tracked down the flower. Gathered its seeds. As verdant limbs wither, roots rot in snow, still the seed rises, as certain as stone. From death follows new life. So it is with the land. And so it is with us. I'm with child, Aloy. I was going to tell him when he got back from Gemini. Instead, one day, I'll bring our child here. We'll sit among the blooms and watch the sunrise.
I never got to tell him. To thank him. For saving my life, sure, but also for not giving up on me.
He always knew.
Goodbye, Varl. I promise to look after them. I'll try to visit again when I can. But for now, I need to go to the fabrication terminal to install the new override on my spear. Then I'll use it on a Sunwing and get ready for an entrance Regalla will never forget.
I'm thinking to myself, like, doesn't the Zenith have like technology they probably would have created to help like healing, and you know, if they got like immortality technology, they can at least the bare minimum have something to help, like, you know, some Lazarus pit kind of situation and bring Varl back, maybe. And he hasn't been dead long, so it's possible.
Oh, before I forget, I watered those plants for you. I just know they meant a lot to you, and well.
Thank you, Harold.
Override installed. Now to find a Sunwing. I think there are some roosting at the top of the mountain. Okay, I need to find a Sunwing to override. Better head up the mountain. Making good use of this.
Depending on how things go, this might be the final video. I'm not sure. We'll see where we are within the hour.
Good. There are Sunwings up here. I'll have to approach them quietly. Purgewater ammo will make this easier. Watch the sunlight. Probably a fast flyer, too.
I'll get the one that's furthest behind. Do not want to alert the others.
This is it! I'm in the air!
Wow. Do a barrel roll.
Whoa! Head rush. Tilda, I'm in the air.
Then you'll want to pick up an energy cell on one of the ancient Horus Titans. But first you must send out a pulse to activate them. I've sent you the necessary software. To deploy it, you'll have to override one of the communication machines you refer to as Tolnecs. There's one in the middle of the desert that should do nicely.
On it.
Oh, the controls are a little inverted. Push up to go down, push down to go up. Which I always hated that as a mechanic. It's like
There's a
up
Tolnec.
goes up, down
Maybe
goes
that's
down.
Howard's head. Now, how to land this thing?
Easy.
Made it. Just gotta override it.
Is this the one that was locked for me?
Okay, Tilda. I've overridden the Tolnec.
Good. And the energy cells are now primed. Simply pick one up on a Horus. The nearest one should be northwest of your position. Dropping it on Regala's machine should produce quite a spectacle.
Thanks for the assist.
I told you, I want to help.
Whoa!
Oh, that's scary.
These rebels. Reinforcements, maybe. Heading for the grove. I hope Akara and this Noct can live around longer.
And this is the beast that I seen at the end of the last game.
Got the cell. Now on to the grove. pulse from the Tallneck should have reactivated all the energy cells in the region. I should be able to pick up more of the main horse I fly to. It'll be useful, even after I deal with Regala.
I was like exhausted this morning. I almost overslept for work. I'm just like, God, did not have the energy to deal with crap. I mean, like the spirit was willing, but the body was like,
Regala's inside. Hikaru will soon be dead. It's all over, Chaplain.
I gotta drop it now. Here it goes.
It's Aloy! She flies on the wings of the Ten. The tide has turned! Push through!
End of the line, Hikaru. Now on your knees, and I'll give you the death you didn't have the spine to give me.
They're down! The machines! All of them! They're down!
What? How's that possible?
Regala! Enough bloodshed! Let's settle this. You and me.
Easy to say when you're atop a machine.
hypocrite much?
Well, that was just to get your attention. I don't need any help to take you down.
Fine. I accept your challenge. And once I'm done with you, I'll get to finish the slaughter.
We'll see about that.
The duel is set. Let none interfere.
Boss battle.
Now you shall. Already forgotten. Try again.
Gotcha. I feel like I'm playing like Injustice and you got these scene transitions.
Alright, so that's how it's gonna be.
crap. Like, freaking
I'll finish I will paint this hallowed soil with your blood. Are you here to play or fight? This is all you are? If you offered your blood, I'd spit it to the soul.
gotcha.
This is where it ends.
Yeah, it is.
I will rise above. Strike and strike hard. I will carve my story into you! Is your heart beating fast? That's the fear that will consume you!
I gotta wait. Build up my stamina.
My story will be carved into your bones!
Find me, reach me. If you find me, beat me. If you want to reach me.
She'll come to you! I'll tear that braided head from your body! Come to me! I'd hoped to fight a legend! You're nothing but hope!
Gotcha.
Strike and strike hard!
craft these things. Hell yeah. You staying far away from the traps as possible?
The Nora cried tears of salt, and nature shed rivers of blood.
Well, that's it. I didn't even do anything.
Here I am again, on my knees before bootlicks and cowards. Go ahead, run me through.
Shut your mouth, traitor.
It was you who flew in on the wings of the Ten. You who challenged her by our rights. You must decide her fate. I spared her once. It only made things worse. She was the best of my marshals. What a waste.
She's dangerous, all right. But maybe that's exactly what I need.
Cowards! What more do you have to conspire about?
Whether you live or die. I'm not here to forgive you for your crimes. But there's another battle ahead. Against an enemy more powerful than anything you can imagine. And I need people. A squad. That's willing to do whatever it takes.
I don't want your mercy.
It's not mercy. The battle I'm talking about will be charging into a nightmare.
A better death than this? Yes. My blood is yours. Your enemies are mine.
Meet us at our stronghold, in the mountains near Plainsong.
You mean to send her alone? Without even an armed guard?
She does not need it.
I will be there. You have my word.
I'll hold you to it.
Chief, there's something you both need to see. In the throne room.
It was a pretty good boss battle.
He surrendered to our guards outside the grove. Claims he has an urgent message for the Outlander who defeated Regalla.
So, state it.
It's for her alone. From an interested party.
I'm gonna need some privacy.
Clear the room. Put him with the rest of Regalla's soldiers.
I'll see you back at base.
You saved the tribe. Let me help you with your mission.
No. With Regalla gone, you have a chance to build the future you dreamed of. So get to your task.
Then at least allow me to give you this. Armor for the battle ahead. May it keep you safe.
Thank you.
It's invisible. Is it silence?
Do you have any idea what you've just done?
Oh, it's a pleasure to see you too, Silence.
Congratulations on your victory. You saved the Tenakth for a few weeks. Unfortunately, you've doomed the entire planet as well.
Wrong. I don't need a Tenakth army to defeat the Zeniths.
Oh, Aloy. Have you learned nothing about the enemy we're up against?
More than you, hiding whatever hole you found. My idea is just better than anything you ever came up with.
Go on.
No, not here. We're doing this my way. Face to face, and with the weapon you've developed.
And why would I agree to that?
Because I'm your only way of beating the Zeniths, and getting the copy of Apollo that's on their ship. So meet me at my base. Mountains west of Plainsong. Time to submit to the inevitable silence and follow the person who actually knows what she's doing. Don't be late.
Again.
Tilda, you there? I did it. Silence is on board, so head to my base.
Impressive. I'll be there as soon as I can.
Now that I can fly, I might want to see what else I can do before I head back.
That was one hell of a mission. Succeed. Okay. Make some necessary. Oh wait a minute, what's the new outfit? Oh, here we go. Hell yeah. I love this. Love the look of this. Equip, please. Please. All defense. Oh, hell yeah. Put this on. Now, skills. Got 7 skills. Okay. Oh, this is the spread shot one. Yeah. Oh, okay. Put this. Hmm. Holy shit. Way being mobile. And that will be useful.
You've got to admire her boldness. Ah!
Boldness. Blasting shrapnel.
A workbench. Oh, there you go. Oh my freaking chest. Speaking of which, let me just go ahead and craft these suckers. Don't know how I missed that one.
Caro and Aloy brought us victory.
Visions will guide us.
Honor and strength. The visions are renewed. Let us receive their wisdom.
I can't make any upgrades. That sucks. Kind of. I might be finishing this video, I mean, this game all in this one video. Digging his costume. Luckily I didn't waste any too much on, like, you know, outfits where I can just, I mean, I'm digging this. It's not too bad.
Hey, Mr. Know-It-All is here. You know, your focus buddy who never smiles. I didn't know what to do with him, so I had him wait in your room.
Got it. Thanks. Well, Silence. Looks like you finally found a door you could open without me.
I'm glad it's there, actually. It kept me from having to mingle with the company you keep. But enough prattle. I believe you owe me an explanation. Your plans for the Zenith base?
You're right. I do owe you. My spear in your throat for deceiving me again. At the Hades Proving Lab.
I doubt you asked me here for that kind of reckoning.
No. Right now, I need your help. So I'm giving you one final chance. But if you ever betray me again, I will kill you no matter what the circumstance. Understood?
Very well. Though we'll both face a decidedly short future if you can't get us inside that base.
Aloy, your other guest is here. She's, coming to you.
Thanks. Good timing. The truth is, I can't actually get us into the base. But she can.
The company you keep is even worse than I thought.
Not a fan of surprises, are you? Oh, look. That must be your little invention.
Does the weapon work? Without self-destructing?
Of course it does. I've eliminated the imperfections and greatly improved its design and output.
How can we be sure?
Care for a demonstration?
Enough, both of you. We're in this together, at least for now. Go talk to Erend. Tell him I said to give you rooms of your own. I'll come see you when I get a chance.
Oh, no. You first.
It'd be funny to be like, oh no, you first.
Better get everyone in the control room so Tilda can tell us what she knows about the Zenith base.
Like, oh no, you first.
Gonna clean my gear later.
Okay. Maybe it's time to get everyone together so Tilda can brief us. But is there anything I should handle before that?
They're going good.
All right, people. I need you up in the control room right away. Okay, everyone. We all know what's at stake. Beta, Gaia. Not to mention life on Earth. Now, it might seem like the Zeniths are invincible, but they're not. We've got what it takes to break into their base and defeat them. We even have one of them on our side. Tilda, show us the base.
It is constructed atop the ruins of an ancient military facility on an island to the southwest. I can get us inside. To this location. Undetected.
How exactly?
You'll know when you need to. Once inside, our goal will be this structure. The launch tower. Gaia and Beta are being held at the top. But along the way, we will face overwhelming resistance. Most importantly from Gerard, Eric, and the others. But also...
Once I take away their shields, we should be able to deal with them. But it will be easier to deploy the device if someone else is carrying it. I'll need a strong back.
Carry stuff? Yeah, I can do that.
Even if your device works, there will still be Spectre drones, scores of them.
If only we had an army to fight them.
I've got that under control. You'll know when you need to. All right. We'll meet up again just before we go in. Where's the best place to rendezvous?
On the coast, just across from the island. Once there, I'll show you the way.
Okay. I'll let you know when I arrive at the rendezvous point. And then you can join me. In the meantime, do whatever you need to prepare. Understood? You two? A minute?
It's funny how they just given Silence the business.
Tilda helped me get in touch with Beta, and she told me something important. There's an installation inside the base. It's called a regulator. Here. Once we're inside, I need you two to split off from everyone else and destroy it. So you'll have to bring explosives. This will help stop the drones. Everything depends on it. Are you with me? After that, I want you to find a way to infiltrate the Zenith network.
How?
Go over all the data that Beta left behind. She knew how to do it, I'm sure of that.
All right. But why? What am I trying to do?
Find information about the Zeniths. Anything Tilda's not telling us. Silence is right about one thing. There's no way we can take her on her word.
I'll do my best.
Keep her safe, okay?
On my life.
Okay. Almost time to go after Beta and Gaia. Might be good to check up on everyone first.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea. One last chit chat.
We've never played Machine Strike together.
Oh no. Aloy, aren't we meeting at the beach near the Zenith base?
We are. I just wanted to check in on everyone first. We're finally doing this.
Never thought I'd be off on a mission to take down a bunch of immortals from the stars. I can hear the drinking songs already.
Varl made the right call. You know, bringing you here.
Thanks. Yeah, Varl. You know, I never knew he had a sister. I found out a few days before you guys went to Gemini. I was, well, to be honest, I was terrified I'd screw up the mission somehow. So he sat me down for a drink. Just one, mind you. And we talked about family. Vala, Ursa, loss and revenge. How you helped us.
You know, we never did get that drink you promised back in the Embrace. And you never told me exactly how your sister escaped the Mad Sun King.
I guess we never got round to it. World ending and all. No time like the present, though. If you're up for it.
You think it's time for us to finally have that drink?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, of course.
Yeah, let's give him that drink. Because it had been a while. It's like, 15 or so videos.
Oh.
Is the tattoos from the costume? It must be.
So, how did Ursa escape Mad Sun King Jiran's palace?
Well, first she had to survive the Sun Ring. See, during the war, the Carja threw a prisoner a day in there. And, for what? To die as sacrifices, fighting machines in a pit. Thinking somehow that was gonna appease all the other deranged machines in the world? Ha! And when it was Ursa's
I want a
turn,
mug like
Carja
that.
thought she'd go down if they threw a big machine at her.
Oh, but she didn't.
And she defeated all of them. Even got some of Jiran's kestrels for good measure. And the Mad Sun King was impressed, I guess. Thought it'd be funny to have her run around his palace as a servant. He enjoyed humiliating her that way.
I remember you telling me something about that. That's how she met Avad. He helped her escape.
Yeah, but what no Carja scroll will ever tell you is how the young prince snuck Ursa out of the palace. He knew their best chance was to get Ursa to blend in, so he got her everything she needed to disguise herself as a Carja noblewoman. Yeah, perfumes, veils, and all.
I get the feeling she wasn't too happy with that.
Oh man, Ursa would have rather fought her way out of that palace with her bare hands than put on all of that Carja eye paint. But Avad insisted it was the only way, so she agreed under one condition. Avad had to dress up as well.
She made Avad dress up like a noblewoman?
As perfumed and powdered as a babe. Ursa said he looked better like that than he ever did in a crown.
That would, definitely make for an interesting sight.
Oh, it worked like a charm, too. Not only did they make it out of the palace, they paid a traveling merchant to get Ursa to the border, and none were the wiser.
That sounds like a Final Fantasy VII. That's a good story.
You were right. That was a story best told over a drink.
All good stories are.
Yeah, that did remind me of Final Fantasy VII Remake. Check it out on my channel. I did it. I don't know if I don't think my mic wasn't working when I was playing on the PS4 at the time. Wasn't doing well as of that time. But man, I laughed my ass off at that. As like Tifa and them was telling Cloud like you're in a dress, like he's like yeah, pulling off, great, moving on. I was like, yes. Oh god.
You talked to Tilda at all?
I tried. I don't think even a hot forge could melt that ice. And you say she wants to help?
I think so. Well, let's hope. Doesn't look like any of our guests are making trouble.
Yet. So, Kotallo tells me you flew. Well, that's new. I've been busting my balls trying to learn to read. You're out there having all the fun.
Don't worry. You'll be getting all the fun you can handle soon. With the Zeniths.
Looking forward to it.
Alright.
I guess I should get going.
I'll see you at the rendezvous point. With my hammer ready.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
Hammer time.
Aloy, we're ready to meet you at the rendezvous point whenever you call.
Fighting the Zeniths isn't going to be easy.
Nothing you do ever is. At least, now you don't have to do it alone.
Thanks.
I know there's probably a lot on your mind right now, but I was hoping we could discuss the land gods. If you have the time.
You know, maybe she should stay behind considering she's with child.
So, how does a tribe like the Utaru manage to maintain the peace with warriors like the Tenakth?
By holding them off. When our fields bloomed aplenty, the Tenakth looked upon our lands with envy. But Plainsong's dishes provided sanctuary and high ground to keep invaders at bay. In the end, even the Tenakth saw sense in a truce. The Utaru promised to provide the Tenakth with food from our crops every year. In exchange, the Tenakth would relinquish one of their own, a veteran, to train the Utaru in combat. This custom was abandoned a few years after the derangement. But some veterans still remain in the plains.
Thoughts on our new Zenith acquaintance?
I'd say she smells like death, but even death smells of something. She's more like a cold piece of metal, bent on repelling all semblance of life.
She's definitely different. Everyone here, training, working together. If it weren't for Varl, none of it would have happened.
You know, there was this one night, right before Varl left with you to go to Gemini. He realized I was having trouble sleeping. I was nervous about the mission. To be honest, I think we both were. So, he asked me to join him in Gaia's dome. He brought up this hologram of Earth that you two found back in the Zenith launch facility. We sat there, just looking at it. I thought about how Plainsong was just a speck on that great sphere. How every corner of it must be teeming with life. And any fears I had about our mission were gone. I miss him terribly.
I know.
By the way, I hooked up with Raw one time. Not a big deal.
I should go. I'll let you know when I'm ready to head to the base.
Before you do, there is one favor I would ask of you.
What is it?
You placed this focus in my care, and gave me the highest calling an Utaru has ever known. If I should fall in battle, I'd like you to be the one to bury my seed pouch. For the both of us.
So,
make sure you stay alive to do so.
let's just try to all come back home. Okay?
Don't put all that on me. Like I need to hear that right now.
You nervous?
I'd be lying if I said I'm not slightly apprehensive.
The plan will work if we all focus on our assignments.
Right. Oh, and If you have a moment, there's something I could use your help with.
I suppose you saw that Tilda is here. Our very own Zenith.
I almost went up to her to ask her, well, every question I've ever had about the legacy. Every diviner I know would kill to get 5 minutes with one of the old ones. But now that she's here, all I feel is a vague unease. I don't know if I'm scared of finding out more uncomfortable truths, or just scared of her. Probably both.
The rest of us should be enough of a distraction to the Zeniths for you to hack into their network undetected. But you'll have to be quick, in case they do.
What exactly do you expect me to find, Aloy?
I don't know. The truth, if we're lucky. You wanted data, you'll find lots of it here.
A diviner has never had this sort of unsupervised access to archives such as this. And knowing you, I suspect there is much that would normally be forbidden held within them. But I was sent here to help you. I would be remiss to ignore any truth laid before me. Maybe it'll help the Quen find their way back to the path of truth.
You know, she kind of like, you know, if there was like a movie, she'd be like the cute, dorky friend.
I need to get going.
I'll be at the rendezvous point. May truth lead us to victory.
Haven't seen you since the battle at the Grove. How are you holding up?
I saw you fly on the wings of the Ten, and paralyze Regalla's army with lightning. I would say that I am inspired.
Thank you, I guess.
It is I who should be thanking you. All that remains is to follow you to the end, whatever that will be.
We're lucky to have you on our side.
Oh, and by the way, I was hoping we could finally discuss this new arm of mine, if you have the time.
Did you meet Tilda?
There is something about her that doesn't seem natural. I wouldn't be surprised if my sword went through her and she didn't bleed at all.
Honestly, with her, nothing would surprise me.
I mean, like, how would any, like, if you're like a person right now who's like, you know, not like a super genius, but just like, you know, your average Joe doing well, you know, for yourself, but then you gotta like fast forward into the future, like Marty McFly and Back to the Future 2, and you see people who like look upon you as like somebody who's like at least 100 to 200 years in the future or something like that, or even 1,000 years in the future. They'll probably look at you like, you know, tell us all about like the ancient histories. It's like, you know, it's like, you know, they'll probably look at you like a god in a way, like, you know, your knowledge. It's like you're the old one kind of situation. But it's like, what will you do with that? And like, would they look at you like, you know, with fear, you know, because your vast knowledge and like, you know, capabilities and like whatever.
What did Chief Hekarro say when you told him he'd be joining me here?
You spilt rebel blood at the Grove and helped reunite the clans. There was little more to be said. He understood.
Well, I'm honored he lent me his best marshal, at least for a little while.
Indeed.
You know, well, like in the last game, I was like, oh, like I thought like Aloy and Varl be like close with each other. You know, I mean, I'm kind of glad that they're not, you know, doing this whole romance thing with Aloy. And if they making this like into like a franchise like God of War or something like that, it's like you think at some point she might meet somebody or somebody like of some equal stature, you know. I don't know. Or even like I thought like maybe that boy she saved in the first game, I thought like just because he wasn't a traditional warrior, it might be like a nice little, you know, yin and yang thing going on. Or even with Varl, like, you know, they got similar, they're warriors, but you know, it could have gone either way with either one of those two. But now it's like, I don't know. I mean, it's not necessary, but it's like, you know.
You said the Bulwark was your home a long time ago. That you were part of the Sky Clan.
Yes.
That's all you're gonna tell me?
Fine. As you wish. My parents were killed in a clan skirmish, so I was raised by my squad. As I grew older, I came to be known as an accomplished fighter. Tekote took a special interest in me. I fought by his side against the Karja, and led my squad on a dangerous climb into the Daunt. It was I who opened the gates at Barren Light from the east side, allowing the Tenakth to raise it.
That must have gotten you some attention.
Indeed. I was welcomed home as a hero, and I was content.
Then why'd you leave?
I became a marshal.
More?
Why did you leave the Sky Clan to become a marshal?
I was sent to the Kulrut by Tekote. Back then, I would have obeyed his every order. I believed in him, like one would a father. I was too blind to see the fear in his eyes. Fear of a rising young warrior challenging his command of the clan. I returned a hero from the battle at Barren Light. But to him, I was only a threat. Never occurred to him that I had no interest in rising above my station.
Why did Tekote think you wouldn't be a threat to him if he sent you to the Kulrut?
Tekote knew that if I survived the Kulrut, I'd be forced to forsake the clan to serve the Tenakth as a whole. I'd never be allowed to challenge his command, even if I wanted to. After our victory at Barren Light, Tekote spoke to our people, said it would be selfish to rob Hikaru and the marshals of a warrior like myself, even though he knew perfectly well I had no intention of ever leaving. It was exile, guised as an honor. One he knew I couldn't refuse. So I became a marshal, and never looked back.
I'm sorry you had to go through that.
I am not. Though it pained me at the time, a marshal is what I was destined to be.
Your people keep mentioning the Wings of the Ten. What exactly does it mean?
The visions tell us that the Ten flew on great metal machines with wings, and leapt into battle from the sky. For us, to imitate this feat is the ultimate expression of martial prowess. It is why the challengers leap into the arena during the Kulrut. And now, you have done it. Like the deeds of the Ten themselves, it will never be forgotten. So, tell me, how did it feel?
I won't lie. Pretty good.
I can only imagine.
Is he talking about like, you know, military officials in the past leaping from like helicopters or jets? Wings of the Ten?
I'll see you soon then.
It will be my honor.
Silence. I'm talking with silence, then till the last.
Did you need something? Bravo. You managed to sway a Zenith to your side. Care to explain?
Not a chance. I thought you said the weapon was ready.
There's always room to optimize. But that's not why you're here. I assume you want to comprehend my undertakings. So, ask away.
Since when were you so forthcoming?
Since you turned this into a waiting game. And as it seems you have found modest success, perhaps I'm willing to be generous.
Okay.
Okay, so your big plan, everything you've been manipulating for the last few months. Let me see if I got this straight. You learned about the Zeniths from Hades when you interrogated it. Then you came up with a plan to defeat them by using a Tenakth army and that weapon. And to get the Tenakth to fight for you, or rather the Sons of Prometheus, armed Regalla's rebels with override tech.
Did you have an actual question, or are you still playing catch-up?
So all this time, even before I found the coordinates at the Spire, you were out here scheming. Why couldn't you just tell me?
When I learned of the Zenith's return to Earth, I laid out my plans. I knew I would one day require an army of overzealous Tenakth to assault the Zenith base. The casualties would be extreme. And I knew you would never allow such a sacrifice, no matter how necessary. Thus, I devised a means to remove your interference from the equation at the Hades Proving Lab.
Wow.
Why create the Sons of Prometheus? You didn't need a bunch of Oseram tinkerers to make override tech.
They were a necessary safeguard. My time serving Hades in the Eclipse demonstrated the risks of getting directly involved. Through the Sons of Prometheus, I could execute my plans, all while remaining anonymous.
You wanted me to surrender to the Zeniths at the Hades Proving Lab. They almost killed me.
Based on everything I knew about them, I concluded they would find you a useful asset, thereby keeping you out of harm's way and, more importantly, out of my way.
So you really didn't know they had their own clone of Elizabeth?
No. Unfortunately, there was no way I could have known that particular detail.
Detail? Well, I guess if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't be here today. Tell me about the weapon. How does it work?
I've upgraded the delivery system. It now emits a wave-like effect covering a significant distance.
That doesn't fully answer my question.
No, but I'd be a fool to reveal its inner workings. After all, why did you withhold your plan for dealing with the Zenith drones? Yes, even you can appreciate the value of secrecy when warranted. Suffice it to say that the weapon will work. The intricacies of how is knowledge that is mine alone.
Okay.
Why help Regalla take over? If you wanted an army, you could have just gone to Hekarro.
Before Regalla's rebellion, Hekarro was only concerned with battling machines and fostering friendships with the Carja. Even if I gained his ear, he would never agree to send his forces to battle a threat he couldn't understand.
So helping a bloodthirsty exile was easier?
Yes. Exceedingly so. All Regalla craved was war against the Carja and anyone who threatens the Tenakth. She would have led the tribe into battle without question, which was precisely what I needed.
And the Quan.
While I was out there, I had a couple run-ins with the Quen.
The tribe from across the ocean. And?
Their entire tribe was shaped around the discovery of focuses. One of them, Alva, even joined me here. Don't you want to know more about them?
No. They stumbled upon the greatest technological artifact from the ancient world, and what did they do with it? They shrouded the knowledge they unearthed in mysticism and taboo, creating a pantheon out of corporate shills.
Yes, well, it also led them to Thebes.
Did it now?
So those run-ins with the Quen I mentioned. On one of them I teamed up with their expedition to search Thebes. We found Pharaoh at the end.
You must have needed Omega clearance. So, what was it like?
Worse than you can imagine.
He single-handedly wiped out collective human knowledge. I'm sure it was still less than he deserved.
Let me guess. You would have scraped him into a jar so you could prod his brain, like what you did with Hades.
For a start.
Oh, I guess that's it.
Alright, Silence. I think I've talked to you long enough. I'll let you know when it's time to go. And try not to mess with Tilda while you're in here, okay? I don't need the two of you butting heads.
Ah, yes. About your Zenith ally. I wonder if you understand what kind of person you're dealing with. For someone to live as long as she has, outlast as many calamities, well, your goals may be aligned now, but I'd watch for the moment they diverge.
Yeah, I'm aware. Reminds me of someone else I know.
Survival is only a necessity to my greater purpose, Aloy. I'd hoped you'd recognize that by now.
Do you know something or not?
Oh, I know a great deal of things. But on this, you just call it a feeling.
Oh, a feeling? You mean you finally had one? Huh. Guess even you can change, Silence.
Not that he doesn't deserve it, but like all that passive aggressiveness, like wow.
Yeah?
I was thinking you could spot when you have the time.
Oh, sure. Yeah, of course.
There might be a way to deal with it.
There you are. Well done, Aloy. Despite my reservations, you managed to secure Silence and his weapon. You're truly a shining example of Liz's fortitude.
I've been thinking about what you said at your house. How you were friends with Elizabeth. It was more than that, wasn't it?
Perceptive as ever. You're right, we were together for a time.
Okay, so... what happened?
I was an orphan. I had always been alone. By my 30s, I was starting to wonder if that was simply my fate in life. And then I met Liz. We kept running into each other at conferences. We'd have coffee. At some point, it became drinks. I thought it was just shop talk, an exchange of ideas, but then I was surprised at how much I looked forward to seeing her. Soon we were flying halfway across the world every other week just to meet up. For the first time, I didn't feel lonely. I could imagine a future where I wasn't. I think Liz felt the same way at first. She had lost her mother a few years back. I filled a void for her. I know I did. But as time passed, it seemed as though she wanted less when I wanted more, and so we ended things.
So helping me, restoring Elizabeth's dream, it's what,
a second chance, yes. I made a mistake leaving Earth while Liz stayed behind. I should have done more. So when I saw you, a woman who has carved her own remarkable path, beyond even what made Liz a phenomenon, I knew I had to help you. To do right by her.
You said before that you're not like the other Zeniths. That you never were. But you went along with all of their plans.
Out of necessity. I'm not proud of it. But complicity became a means of survival. Both when Earth was consumed and when the colony on Sirius was destroyed. I did what I had to. But I resolved to remain one step ahead of the others, to try to undo what damage I could. Hence the data channel with Beta. The secret passage into their base and the little trick I pulled to save you.
Why did you make the data channel look like your house?
I built that house as a shelter to weather any storm. A safe place, not just for me, but for the art stored in its depths. Cultural artifacts of incalculable value. Truly, some of the greatest achievements of human civilization.
And you wanted Beta to see them?
Yes. Her upbringing was so cold and technical. I thought if she could experience Vermeer and Rembrandt, it would bring something else into her life. A heritage every bit as valuable as the scientific and technical data being drummed into her. I'm sorry I had to cut off contact, but I'll never regret sharing this house.
I already went through this.
She needed its shelter even more than I did.
Why do you think Elizabeth pulled away?
I've wondered that for 1,000 years. She was brilliant, visionary. She cared so deeply for the world, for the betterment of humanity. But it also felt like she kept everyone at arm's length, including me. She never wanted to share her burdens. I think, in the end, she had a core that she never let anyone be part of. Sometimes I wonder if anyone really knew her.
I found a recording of you and Elizabeth back in the Proving Lab after Farzineth's attempt to steal Gaia.
Yes. A most unpleasant conversation.
She said something after the call. I think she regretted how things ended between you.
Did she? All this time, thank you for telling me. I've always hated that those were the last words we ever said to each other. And that her last impression of me was as a functionary of Far Zenith, not who I truly am.
What else can we expect to find in the Zenith base?
As I mentioned in the briefing, our goal will be the command center. That's where Beta and Gaia are being held. There are also printing facilities where the others have been amassing the natural resources they've stripped from the region.
What for?
First for use in the base's infrastructure, and then to fabricate more Spectre drones, a small army of them. In addition, they've also been ferrying materials to and from our ship in orbit. After hundreds of years luxuriating in our digital comforts, the ship was barely space-worthy when we made our escape. Disaster can strike at any moment. We've learned our lesson.
Yeah, she definitely looked like Tilda Swinton. If this was a movie, Tilda Swinton has to play as Tilda.
Have you figured out how Silence's weapon works?
No, and he's been very careful not to allow me near it. I'll admit it bothers me, but regardless of how it functions, I am confident it will deactivate the other shields en masse.
How many of them are in the base?
10, including Eric and Gerard. Only a handful of us made it to our ship when our colony collapsed.
So, Eric. Was he always a bloodthirsty psychopath?
I believe he got worse over time. On Earth, he was the founder of a profitable private military company. A band of cutthroats, in other words. Even as governments abandoned human combatants in favor of automated warfare. He found success with clientele that required a more personal touch. There were also rumors that he personally hunted and killed his targets. On occasion, all for the thrill of it. But on Sirius, he retreated to virtual reality simulations. In them, he could go on rampages as violent as he pleased, though I suspect with diminishing satisfaction.
Holy shit. What kind of Jason Voorhees kind of dude y'all brought on? Kind of reminds me of Kano from Mortal Kombat, the way she described him.
What can you tell me about Gerard?
He was the head of the world's largest financial conglomerate, and as such had dealings with almost every major corporation. It made him one of the wealthiest people on Earth, and certainly the wealthiest among Far Zenith.
What does one person do with that much money?
Buy more power, more influence. Gerard's always believed himself to be a refined patrician, able to maintain control with a polished smile. But beneath that exterior is a cold and calculating operator. It was his decision to restrict Beta's upbringing to her digital educators, the avatars of the Apollo database, while we were painted as her benefactors.
Well, we'll deal with him soon enough. And the others.
I would very much like to see his face when he realizes we've beaten him.
When I was in the ruins of Vegas, I found data on a man named Stanley Chen. I think he was a Zenith.
Stanley, ever the optimist. He was one of the good ones. When we established our colony,
That sounds racist.
we built an exact replica of Las Vegas in virtual reality. Lights, shows, gambling, every detail perfectly recreated. And while others cloistered themselves in their own fantasies, he flung his doors wide to everyone.
The way you're talking about him, I'm guessing he didn't make it back to Earth.
No, he perished when our colony was destroyed. He would have been thrilled to discover that part of his beloved city survived.
That's a shame. It's like, yeah, of course, two out of the, handful of there. I mean, it's like, it's like how many of them, like, because like they, other than Eric and Gerard, the others shouldn't all be psychopaths.
When Beta escaped and hid in an ancient research facility, I saw another one of the Zeniths, Verbena. Who was she?
A dull star amidst a sea of brighter constellations. Unlike most of Far Zenith's members who amassed their wealth through shrewd business deals and technological achievements, Verbena inherited her billions. Her father had achieved great success in the luxury holotourism industry. At age 24, she became the world's most eligible bachelorette, branding herself a life designer. Someone who leverages their fame to influence the choice of others.
What, like a cult?
In a way, yes.
Well, she must have done something right to have survived this long.
She was her own brand of ruthless. That much is true. But even rats can cling to a vessel for escape.
That's a apt way of describing her. It's funny how they like threw in like influencers in this. That is really, really good.
Okay, so I've had run-ins with a handful of Zeniths. What about the rest?
An array of the wealthiest people on Earth. Titans of their industries.
And let me guess. All selfish and ruthless to the core?
Most, but not all. There were a few with whom I got along. Annika Murjani, for instance, was always delightful. She founded the Holonet's most successful dance channel and was herself mesmerizing to watch. And I had fascinating discussions with Song Jiao about her work in cellular biology. Our immortality treatments are due in part to her achievements. But then there were others like Devin Miller, the CEO of a fast food printing corporation. His only real preoccupations were perfecting his golf swing and taking self-hollows. When I think about all of us, we really should have accomplished more. We had eternity.
Okay, so like you should probably get in touch with like the people who aren't psychopaths, so that way after we take down the true psychopaths, we'll have good Zeniths to help like rebuild society.
Okay. I'll let you know when it's time.
I'll be here until then. And thank you, Aloy, for giving me this chance. My past has always been a struggle. More than once I've lost everything. But when I look to the future, I see Liz's dream fulfilled. A universe of new possibilities.
Maybe we can make it happen.
We will. I won't let anything get in the way. I promise you that.
Remember, we need to get Silence Weapon to the Zenith base intact if we want to take their shields.
Okay,
Be gentle. I promise.
Good. Without it, there's no payback.
Don't worry. Payback's all I think about.
I talked to everybody. Oh yeah, circle all the way around. Fast over there, but it's fine. We'll fast travel here and take the long way. I mean, not long way, but like go the rest of the way. It's nice little discussions. It was well, no. What can I get from these potion guy? Need all these animal thingies just to do anything with this pouch.
Your courage serves you well.
Blade be bright. Never thought I'd be grateful to an outlander.
Aloy, ally of this knob.
Stay and rest, or push on.
Plenty of puckeries around here.
Rebel holdouts. If I leave them be, they'll cause nothing but trouble. I should lie low. Find whoever's in charge and take them out. Maybe then the rest will leave.
Don't need to fool around with them. Let's just finish this up.
Machine won't be bothered by acid.
Need a ride. What are they supposedly grazing? Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Went through all that. No. Oh, okay, I'm about to say, like.
One of Hikaru's marshals. A wounded hunter. Maybe they need help.
Oh, dang it. Climb up all that. I wasted all that time for nothing.
Perfect. Keep this green shine for later. This trail is really falling apart. Oh. Didn't know it was more tree to climb. All this sweat, and I'm still not cooling off.
Aloy, it's Kotallo. Thought this might interest you. 3 of our soldiers have gone missing in the Valley of the Fallen. The whole area's crawling with machines. And there have been reports of glowing lights off the coast. Marshal Evira should be at the valley's entrance. She might need your help.
Thanks. I'll look into it when I can. I think I saw Evira and another Tanakh at the valley entrance. Maybe I should head back to them.
Okay, climb this. Oh, there. There you go.
Great. More climbing.
Hope this like final battle,
Machine. A bad one too.
you know, because I remember like the final boss of the last game, it was
Dead machine.
kind of a challenge taking that thing down.
Took a lot of hits to bring this one down. Better be ready for anything. Must be one of the missing Tenakth.
Not that far. There's Parkeries everywhere.
The Zenith base.
Probably should have made this like 2 videos in one night. Matter of fact, I should do that right now. I'll be back in a minute, everybody.